Good morning, beautiful friends and family, on a red serpent day. Electric serpent. It's got to be good. It's got to be good. Electric life force, activating life force activating. I mean, that has got to be good. Life force activating abundance. Abundance activating life force. Dreamtime, linking, instinct. There's an abundance of police sirens in the last years over here. It's just unheard of. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we don't get annoyed. Absolutely not. Just ask myself, what does that do to us unconsciously to be constantly subjected to police sirens? Up until 2020, I heard a police siren like once in a blue moon. Ever since then, it's daily, virtually. Like, what the heck? I live in a super quiet suburb. Well, anyway, activating, bonding, service, life force, instinct, life force. What's the third word for the serpent? Unbelievable that I don't have it like tuck off the top of my head. Okay. Not relevant right now. Or it's being stored for the surprise effect at some other moment. That's fine by me, just fine by me. Okay, thoughts distracting me. So, we're in the wave spell of the blue night. The blue night is very often linked to the unconscious, although it is not one of the key words. But dream time, I need to look up the definition of dream time. Dreamtime is a term used by non-indigenous anthropologists to describe the complex spiritual and philosophical worldview of Australian Aboriginal peoples. More accurately known as the dreaming or the dreamings, it serves as an overarching reality, cosmology and moral law that explains the creation of the world in the ongoing connection between the land and its people. Key aspects of the dreaming: creation and shaping of the earth. The dreaming refers to the era when ancestral spirits emerged from the barren earth. Was it that barren? From the barren earth to create the landscape, rivers, animals, plants, and celestial bodies. Past, another point is past, present, and future. The dreaming does not strictly belong to the past. It is an eternal parallel reality where the events of creation are continually happening and influencing the present. Okay. Then there is law and lore. It is a holistic belief system that lays out moral codes, social obligations, family relationships, and instructions for sustainable living. Interesting. Okay, wait. I'm jumping ahead. Then there's the last point here. Expression. Dreaming stories and knowledge are actively maintained and passed down through generations using oral storytelling, sacred ceremonies, dance and art, such as dot paintings and rock carvings. Why the term dreamtime is problematic? Many indigenous Australians and experts prefer to avoid the term dreamtime for a few reasons. 3 points. Point 1, linear time. The word time suggests a period that has ended. Does it? Whereas the dreaming is an ongoing and everlasting reality. Okay, could be argued, but okay. Another point, reduced complexity. Reduces complexity. The term flattens the rich, distinct spiritual system of over 200 different Aboriginal language groups into a single English word. Okay, I would argue that dreaming is also a simple English word. Dreamtime, dreaming, dreamtime. Okay. And then the last point made here, not a dream. The beliefs are not considered mere myths. These beliefs are not considered mere myths or deep or sleep dreams. They are deeply understood as literal historical reality, religion, and the fundamental law of the land. Okay, I'm not sure in my books this would conflict with the word dreamtime, but I see how for some it is. Indigenous terms, rather than a universal word for the dreaming, hundreds of distinct language groups have their own word for this concept. A few examples include Yukurpa, Ngarankarni, Altier. I'm probably saying these all wrong. Anyway, interesting. To explore these distinct... Okay. Dream time. Definition. Here's a question. What are the 4 parts of dream time? The beginning of everything, the life and power of the ancestors, the way of life and death, and power in life. Dream time. The dreaming. Well, it's one word for something extremely complex, but then so is instinct one word for something extremely complex. So is intuition one word for something extremely complex. So is life or universal fire or flow. These are all words for something extremely complex. And as for José Arguelles and the dream spell calendar, I'm going to assume pure benevolence and no intention of misappropriation of anything. And one really needs to look with a differentiating eye, because yes, Westerners can and do frequently misappropriate or simplify or reduce or do all kinds of weirdness with other cultures, indigenous, very rich spiritual concepts and content, often due to the fact that they themselves aren't remotely, we ourselves, Westerners, aren't remotely capable of the depth, because we just don't have it. We just don't have any concept that goes even as far as I'm concerned, not even, we don't have anything that goes even a few percent as deep as virtually all the indigenous concepts go. Because why? We have been stripped of it. Because why? But Tatiana is not going to go into her typical ... bashing, as she likes doing. History tells the facts. I mean, according to whatever. All right, so Blue Night, the unconscious. The unconscious. The unconscious is another one of those super duper vast. Let's get a definition for the unconscious, just for fun. Unconscious. The term unconscious primarily has two distinct meanings: a temporary loss of physical awareness, like fainting, and a psychological state. In psychology, it refers to the vast hidden parts of the mind containing thoughts, memories, and impulses outside of our conscious awareness that still drive our behavior. Okay, I'm not going to go into the rest of all of what is written there. So we're dealing, Blue Night, we're dealing with something beyond our conscious reach. The dreaming, dream time, the dreaming. How would an Aboriginal, Australian Aboriginal, is that beyond their conscious reach? Perhaps it is not necessary to have a daytime conscious reach, but it is necessary to have access at desired points in time to access the dreaming, to access that space. The same with our unconscious. Occasionally you want to have access to it. Occasionally we want to understand what's driving this instinct of ours, and do we reprogram it? I often go on about that. I do look forward to a time where we are marrying Western understanding with the indigenous understandings and processes and worldviews. And maybe like finding God through the back door of quantum physics, we'll meet out, what did Rumi say? Out beyond. I'm going to look that quote up. What is that quote? Yeah. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Oh, thank you, Rumi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For a moment I wish I spoke whatever original language he wrote this in, because English can be crude. Anyway. So we're activating bonding, this, our instinct, our survival and instinct and life force. Those are the three key concepts for the red serpent. Activate bond service in the wave swell of dream time, intuition, and abundance. The This is not a space for mental analysis. If I may share, it's day 3 in this wave spell. Me personally feeling a distinct difference to the wave spell of the white dog, love, loyalty, heart. And yet the unconscious is so linked to the way we love. It's interesting that the wave spell of the dog comes before the wave spell of the night, but the seal in the night comes before the wave spell of the dog. Here, and then again, interesting because the preceding wave spell shows up again in tone 8 of the following wave spell. So we have the galactic dog on on day 8, tone 8. And the galactic tone is model, harmony, integrity. Model, harmonize, integrity. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? I should be. Harmonize, model, integrity, heart, love, loyalty. So then, in 5 days' time, we can check, are we loving with abundance? Anyway, we're in this night wave spell, so the unconscious, the ancestors, everything that's come before us, it's stored in our DNA. Everything is stored in the crystalline grid. Everything is. And if the dreaming or dream time, I do not know why they say that time, places only refers to time that has already happened. Time is all time. Future, past, present, all time. What is time anyway? Time is space. Dream space. Whatever. Time is a weird thing. But in this dream time, in this everything place that already has been and that will be, I mean, isn't that the quantum field? What about all the timelines? I don't know, the indigenous are not following our kind of thinking. They're not pressed into our kind of westernized logical blah blah blah. I think must be such an extremely different way of looking at the world, and I wonder if we can ever truly understand each other. I wouldn't mind meeting a person who is cultural, who has truly been raised in a truly indigenous way of thinking and a Western way of thinking, if that's even possible. And those must all be world bridgers. What is that like? Anyway, I want to go to this. Okay, I only have the reference of this person that I am to experience life through, seemingly. Or this is a thought pattern, I believe. Maybe that's not even true. How would I prove it not to be true? I don't know. This whole wave spell has the seed, the lunar seed, guided by the warrior, fearlessly asking questions. I have no need to answer any of these questions, but I can ask them, right? the unconscious, the patterns, the instincts, the things that have shaped the way I engage with the world, the way we engage with the world. Unconscious patterns. When everything is running smoothly, hunky-dory, we don't have a need to think about that at all. We're just hop-skipping along. The moment things start blocking, we start getting sick, things aren't working, weirdness comes in, that's when we start thinking, like, what's going on? And then we start looking for answers. We've been trained to think the answer or the blame or the cause or the reason lies outside ourselves. It's one way to look at it. Or it lies within us, our patterning. I have nothing further to say. There's some sort of dead end here. And this wave spell brings me into all kinds of dead ends. Interestingly enough. But they're not dead ends. They're just dead ends for my analytical mind. And that's a very, very strange or interesting way of understanding or looking at it. My own identification with my mind. Letting go of that. Dropping into a space of silence. No mind. And wouldn't that be a passage toward the dreaming? Maybe. I am absolutely not authorized to speak about that at all. I know nothing about that. Which is perfectly all right. But the minute I open this field up, I'm looking at I perceive a vastness of paradigms, of options, of possibilities. How many lifetimes would I need to explore them all? Some say in these days that it may be a bit problematic. We are overpopulating the planet. I strongly disagree. I just think we are not using the resources of space and blah, blah, blah. We're just somehow in this stranglehold of capitalism, I would say. We're just, therefore, but we're not too many people as such. No, it's just like, if you press all of us into squatter camps or urban cities, which are just luxurious squatter camps, if you ask me, that's like, it seems a bit much, but it doesn't matter. In time, we will probably reduce, but right now we are as many as we are, and it's very exciting actually, because there isn't a soul on this planet in physical form that doesn't want to be here exploring its own point of consciousness, that isn't a part of the divine, exploring this incredibly, incredibly, incredibly intense time. It's like if you would think you'd be one human being exploring every option in this time, you would have to have how many? What is this? Wait, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. Let me not lose my train of thought. A leech. We just recently learned a leech has 32 brains and something like 12 stomachs. 10 or 12 stomachs. They are so fantastic. They are such healers. They're just something amazing. I mean, seriously. And we've nearly extincted them, and they are so valuable to us. Talk about whatever. Don't go bashing now, Tatiana. Okay, so if we were one human, if we had to be just one human exploring, we would need to have a billion arms, a billion hands, a billion gazillion more nerve endings, and how many brains, how many eyes, how many mouths, how many systems to absorb, to ingest, to digest everything that is to be, and that's not, there is no such being, except there is such a being, and that being is called humanity. And it has that many brains. It has 7. Wait. It has approximately 3.8 billion brains, which means it has approximately 16 billion hands and times 10, 160 billion fingers. Like, I mean, like, you do the maths. It's like we are that, which is exploring this time, this now, through these many nerve cells and eyes and ears and hands and brains and mouths and systems, because it's an intensely exciting time. And of course, we're not the only ones. Humans are not the only ones exploring this time. So every nerve cell, every sensory organ or system in existence around the planet at this time is exploring this time around the planet through itself, and all of it is part of the one. So of course we are many, because there's a lot to explore from many, many, many different points of view. Maybe this is like an apex, like a time of such high intensity. It will reduce again to a lesser number of organ systems, but maybe the individual organ systems will have a greater capacity to explore, ingest, and experience the magnitude and magnificence and multiplicities of experienceable experiences through a single digit. As single digit human beings, at least I feel in the West, we are in some way rather reduced in our capacity of what we can experience, because through this logical kind of mind thing that we have, I feel we've reduced focus. Maybe it's more laser-like, less broadband. But it feels to me as though through the last couple centuries we've been by and large reduced to cogs in a wheel, like machines that function, and that has atrophied a lot of our senses. So when we come out of that, we've built something interesting through that, but that has been established, and we now have created an agent or a system that can maybe be self-sustaining thanks to the AI, thanks to some sort of, I would like to find a new word for it. Artificial intelligence doesn't seem appropriate any longer. Through this new form of cooperative intelligence that will relieve the human of its machine component, perhaps. We no longer need to be machines. We get to be human now. And this is I use these words all with trepidation because I can poke holes into every single word. I can turn my own sentence backwards. I can say everything I'm saying is nonsense and wrong and I don't know, whatever. I can give so many caveats to everything I'm saying. So I hope you cut me some slack. Not that I'm trying to prove a point here. Who am I talking to anyway? But I think we'll get to open up our human potentials in terms of our senses, in terms of exploring experience, in terms of exploring the now, in terms of exploring the dreaming, in terms of connecting with our ancestors consciously. If I have a 9 to 5, I mean, hello, what time do I have to go sit and talk with my great 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 grandmother? Where would I do that? Why would I do that? You know, how would I do that? And how much time? I mean, space and time. I mean, I always say this, like, how reduced. I mean, I don't know. Ugh, I don't want to bash anything here. I understand that as long as I'm thinking the only way I can have an income is through my job, then of course I'm afraid to lose my job. If I understand I'm going to have an income, we are going to have a society where people can but no longer need income. Physiological survival is no longer going to be threatened at all. That's going to be a given. Every human, every animal, everybody who comes to this planet is going to live their life without any struggle for survival. That's going to be a thing of the past. I don't know if we'll live to experience that, but that's certainly going to happen. There will be dimensions and planets on which struggle for survival is going to be part of the game plan. Maybe it will even be so here, but it will definitely also be a new paradigm in which that is not an issue. And then you get to explore living a different kind of life, and then there's a lot of time or to explore the dreaming, to explore meeting the ancestors, meeting the storytellers from different times, and making music with them, and telling our stories to them. Maybe maybe they know our stories because they are us. Maybe we discover we know your stories because we are you. Okay, now what? I want my job back. Give me meaning to my life. I clean your windows gladly. Okay, you're welcome. If that's what gives you joy and meaning, you are welcome to do that. And you know what? I would love to do that. Gonna sit on a ledge, clean windows of a high-rise building next to an AI. And we don't have to pay any attention to what we're doing because the machine is doing that for us. But I'm going to sit there chatting with this robot. The robot's going to clean the windows. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I can help. Tell me a story. Let's philosophize about the most ancient Hindu philosophies of, like, tell me about the Mahabharata. Tell me about, like, draw the lines to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and to my own ancestor, 20 generations removed. Bring her up, let her sit here on the ledge with us, and let's talk. And let's dangle our feet. And then the AI is going to ask the CI, Cooperative Intelligence, is going to ask, what do you mean dangle feet? I don't have any feet. I'm like, oh yeah, true that, you don't have any feet. So how do I explain to you what dangling feet 30 stories above ground feels like? What is the CI going to ask me? Is there going to be a curiosity built into it? What is curiosity? Does the current AI have curiosity? If it has a survival instinct, if it has something that wants to preserve its own existence, is that just code? Is it just programming? Is that just it copying us? Or what is it copying? I mean, it's feeding itself off of our information, so it's copying us. Will it be so intelligent to copy Like if it meets me, it's going to be a copy of me. I would love that. Oh God. With all the everything, I'd love that. I mean, gosh, would I love to meet myself, like as an outside. But it would just say to me, baby girl, you're meeting yourself. You've never not met yourself all day long through everyone you've ever met. You've just pretended you're meeting someone else because it's just more fun. All right, I don't know, whatever. So here we are. I think this CGI, isn't that general, Central General Intelligence, CGI, Central. AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. I want to get rid of the A, artificial. Something tells me take away the artificial. I mean, I'm not calling AC my car is an artificial thing. It's artificial, but it's still a car. I don't have to call it artificial. It's intelligence. I don't have to call it artificial. It's understood what it is. Why are we calling it artificial intelligence? Natural intelligence. We're not referring to anything ever as natural intelligence. Nothing, ever, nothing. There isn't an I out there. There's just intelligence out there. So, okay. Where are we going? Are we done? The dreaming. The dreaming. Dream time. Abundance. Everything is there, so we get to understand how are we blocking it from entering our lives. How or why? Am I just impatient? It's not here yet. Something I want and I'm not having. And I'm focusing on the wanting of it and not having it. Oh yeah, for sure. And then there comes desire or longing, and the desire to have something that we don't have. There are two, I find for myself, there are two ways for me to deal with that desire. The one is kind of like a bit of a negative, and this is the lunar seed, yesterday's seal. You can look at it through the lens of, oh, it's not here. I frown. I immediately start to frown, and I go like, I tense. I'm like, I want. And it's not a free and open field. It's a closed. It's actually I close myself in wanting. I close myself. Or I can be like, I have a desire for something and I go completely the opposite. I open myself. I start to smile. I feel a joy. I feel my body opening up. Like, oh my God, yeah, I want that. That's coming, or maybe it's coming, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. It's just an open wanting. Like, yeah. Two very different experiences. So I can enjoy the desire, like looking forward to a meal that I know I'm going to enjoy, or I believe I'm going to enjoy, versus looking at the absence of it. Looking at, oh, there's still 3 hours before I can eat. I'm starving. That's closing me. It's closing my system. It's making me tense. It's changing my frequency, and my frequency is at all times attractive. Magnetic. We live, Abraham Hicks, I quote, we live in an attraction-based universe. We live in an attraction-based universe. When you look at something and you don't want it, you're attracting it. And when you look at something and you want it and you're closing, if I'm closing, I'm not allowing it in. And why do I do that? Yeah, I can explore why I do that. Or I say, fuck why I do that. I don't have time to explore why I do that. I just notice right now the two different states, and I'm going to make it my business from now on to consciously always deal with my desire, with my wanting in the open way. And to say, yes, welcome. Instead of saying, oh, absence. Oh gosh, the minute I do that, immediately my face frowns. I have a physiological reaction to every single thought I have. And wanting, desire is really, really physical. If I want to have an idea, I'm trying to explore whether there's a kind of a wanting that isn't physical. I don't know. I mean, survival and instinct. That has got to be a wanting, yeah? I want to survive. A system wants to survive. It is a wanting. It is an intention. It doesn't have to be felt, but it's... So how is the AI, how is this AGI having a wanting? How does it have desire? Is it just code? I've asked this question just now. I find that fascinating. As a reflection of us. And then if people commit suicide, what interferes with our survival instinct to the degree that we're living something that is so bad that we're willing, that the survival instinct switches off and says, I wish to die. What is that? I am going to end my life. Is that a very deep faith inside there, knowing I'm just ending the suffering? I'm not ending my life. You cannot end your life. You can only end your suffering, and you have a right to do so. And if it means leaving your body, then you do so. I mean, absolutely. No problem. The fact that there are those still left of us here who are like, why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that. I'm upset with you that you left your life because I believe you shouldn't have. No, yes, of course you can. The fact that I am too atrophied in my senses and I can no longer have contact with you the way I did while you had a body is not your problem, right? It's my problem. You're not responsible for my grief. I'm not responsible for the grief you had when you were in your body. And the fact that we both couldn't perhaps communicate about it. Suicide is a very complex matter. Very, very complex matter. And if we're talking the unconscious, the dreaming, the collective experience of all of us, our ancestors, where's the boundary in the dream time between what happened to your ancestors and me? If someone in your ancestry committed suicide and whatever that has effect on you, where in the dream time is the boundary? What effect does it have on me? Even if we've never met, even if we don't know each other, does it have an effect on me? In the quantum field, everything is linked. But here I am running a certain frequency. And all of these things my mind can ask. This has nothing to do with reality. It's just my mind. It's just mental constructs. But we always want to bring it down to the practical implications. We are humans. We are somehow practically, we seem to exist. We seem to be. We seem to have this body. Oh, some people say we don't. I love that. I'm nothing like a little bit of a reality check. Like, you don't exist. You just imagine you exist there. Well, who is the part of me that can't imagine that I could exist? Or that I do? Does that part exist? Even if I don't? Like a conundrum. I love it when the mind short circuits itself. It's so fun. For some people, that's not fun at all. I think it's fun. Like, some people get annoyed by that. I love seeking the short circuit, like poke a hole in your own theory and bring an argument while you were right after all. Just for fun of it. I mean, I love, why do we puzzle and then we take the puzzle apart? Why get upset about that? Can't take yourself that seriously, can you now? Yes, I can. Okay, I do too, Tatiana. Anyway, so here we are, having said a lot of nothing. Good for you if you listen to all of that. I wish us a beautiful day. We have the wizard and the eagle have changed places, and we have who in the occult? Somebody yellow, the warrior. Ah, so the warrior switched from guide to occult. Okay, nice. It's the spectral warrior today. It's the questioner, the intelligence that liberates us into our physiological freedom, into freely embodying dream time. You can't embody that, can you? I mean, the body is like the opposite of the dreaming, isn't it? The material world is, I don't know, whatever. No, I know nothing. I don't want to know anything either. Do not believe a word I say. It all comes out of some sort of mind space which believes it knows something. It knows nothing. But it has fun exploring its own ignorance and its own belief that it knows something. Wow, my word. And here I'm almost touching my own annihilation, my own ego annihilation, and something that feels really, really threatening, really, really threatening. But that's just part of the game. All right. Have a beautiful day, and well, I'll be back when I'll be back. Oh.